Yes, now we've learned about brands in the previous video, but as it says here, from now on, they'll become a major part of gameplay, and it will explain itself in about a few seconds. So, now's a good time to get used to the system. Yeah, basically, each individual area has its own chart of brand rankings. And if you use a pin that's of a brand that's at the top of the list, it'll get an attack boost, but ones lower down will suffer an attack penalty. So you can check out the brand chart just by opening the menu, and as you'll see in this area, DB is the #1 brand here. And, well, we just so happen to have a pin of that brand on us, Ice Blow, which we received a few days ago. That was actually the first branded pin we received. Now, actually, at this point, we only have 2. But right now, it's as good a time as any to try out the system. You may have noticed a brand chart #1 sign next to the Ice Blow pin. And you might notice, well, you probably won't notice, but it's doing more damage than usual.
So, who's next? That's how it's done.
Feels so satisfying to get star ranks. But if you're just new to this game, don't be concerned if you don't get star ranks early on. I'm really only getting them because I've already played this game before.
We can do this, Neku! Yeah!
Nevertheless, these frog enemies are starting to get a bit easy for this point. But don't worry, the enemies will get more challenging. And even then though, there is a way to make weaker enemies quite a challenge for you, if you want. That's another one of the major gameplay features that will be introduced in this part. In fact, I'll just say it now, in this part, we will be introduced to 3 of the biggest gameplay features in the game, and so after this, we've pretty much learned all there is to know about the basic gameplay. Those 3 are trends, as you see here, the level system, and chaining. I'll talk more about those once we get to them.
Sweet.
But for the moment, just focus on the brands thing.
So, who's next?
There's a couple of other just little quirks in the trend system. One thing is... Oh, I'll just show this first. I've only showed, this particular thought is quite interesting because it shows that some real ground people do kind of get senses of what's going on
You're good as gone.
in the game. That girl said she saw symbols on a guy's back, which
Easy.
we obviously know what those are, but... And there was another pig noise there. That one's a little tougher than the earlier ones, though. Right, now it's probably time to leave this area. And now this is a bit weird because this bit, now they explain exactly how the pig noise work. Playing them for like since the beginning because I've always been hunting them down. But basically, you'll see this pig symbol in the top right hand corner of the screen near where your phone is if there's a pig noise in the area. But yeah, this is the point where the characters become aware of this. But, well, I've been killing pigs for the past few parts, so... Yeah. But yes, pig noise, they won't attack you, but some of them can be tricky to kill before they run away. And yes, they do give you experience, and you more often... Now, I've already taken out the one near the 10-4 building, but if you look very closely, you'll notice that the indicator's going off again, which means there is a pig in this area. Alright, we get information on pin growth and evolution. Evolution, though, is much more complicated than the game lets on. Yeah, some of these thoughts, you know, they're not really all that important, but it's just interesting sometimes. Anyway, let's get on with killing the pigs here. But you'll notice that, Ice Flow is now number 2 on the brand chart, so it's not actually quite as strong as it was in the previous area. Because like I said, every area has its own brand chart.
Easy.
In fact, you can actually tell by the scenery what brand's the most popular in some areas. Just look for advertisements in the background. Now, what we got from that pig though, Love Charge, that looks like a pin. And yes, it is. Increases the amount of HP restored by HP recovery pins. That's basically just like a passive effect. At this point in the game though, you have very few pin slots, so you can't really afford to waste them on passive effects. It's best to use them on actual attacks. But later on when you get more slots, those passive effect things will become very useful sometimes. Now I just sold some of the yen pins I got from the pigs because remember I said before that there was some stuff here that looked good for
Come
Shiki?
on in. Nice, isn't it?
Well, probably a good time to buy some.
Nice, isn't it? Thanks a bunch.
Right, now let's make sure that she wears this. Hopefully she has enough bravery. And yeah, that's good. 1 free fusion star. I actually really like those kind of abilities. You know, it just makes it easier to get those fusions off. Now yes, as I was explaining, the brand chart is very different between different areas, but of course you can influence it by wearing pins of a particular brand. So if you don't like what the brand chart looks like, just use a lot of pins from different brands and hope it changes. Anyway, time to wall again, obviously. Right, what are we going to have to do this time? 2 1,000 yen pins. Actually, I think I did have one of those, but I sold them. Okay, now this is where things get a little complicated about these pin drops. Now, yes, the noise report will show you the percentages that enemies drop things, but if you really want to get the percentages, well, let's just say some of the percentages are a bit low, or extremely low. If you want to get them to a semi-realistic number, you'll have... Well... Sorry, my monitor just crashed for a second there. Yeah, you'll see how it says normal 30% chance of dropping, and that's the one we need. That's noise number 2, the big band frog. In fact, I actually haven't showed a battle against that yet, but it's a new type of frog. Now this is the system I was pointing out. Watch this. Yes, this is one of the most revolutionary features of this game, I think. You can lower your level at any time you want. But you might ask, why would you want to lower your level unless you're just doing some kind of self-imposed challenge? Well, the lower you make your level, the better the chance of enemies dropping items. In fact, almost every item drop in the game is literally impossible to get without lowering your level at least a bit.
Ready to die?
And die. Not bad.
And now, your level actually only affects your HP. Your pins still retain their levels, which means essentially you've got pretty much the same attack power,
Not an option.
but you'll just be less durable. Of course, this can mean a big deal because in some of the later battles, you lower your level too much and you are going to get killed in one hit, and no, that's not an exaggeration. The other thing that affects drops is the difficulty level, which, yes, you can change at any time. At the moment, we only have normal and easy, but let's just say keeping it on normal means you get better drops. Of course, there are some pins you can only get by playing on lower or higher difficulties. And now, random tangent, remember what I said about looking at the background? Notice, see the building in the distance with that ad on it? That ad depicts the logo of whatever brand's the most popular. And yes, it could even change between battles. You see, before it was an orangey thing, now it's gone to that dark purple. Well, I know the brand's associated with that. Before it seems to have been Jupiter of the monkey, now it's gone to Napon Angelique, or whatever, can't pronounce French, sorry. And now it's actually gone back to DB. Well, not back, it was never DB, but still. It seems using ice blowers paid off. We've made DB the most popular brand in the area. So like I said, you can influence trends to your advantage, and it's a good idea that you do. Now these walls are back, but they're less of a problem now than they were before. Now you'll notice I'm also using the other pin we received yesterday, Poison Bones, I believe it is. That's a passive effect, and it's also a branded pin. It's, at the moment, one of only 2 branded pins we have. And don't worry if he says the same thing, he will clear the wall if you have 2 of those pins. And you don't need to give it to him. You don't actually need to give him... In fact, you get even more money out of it. A 5,000 yen pin. Also, now the other thing I should probably mention about the brand system, you'll notice some brands, like that Pyrokinesis one, have no logo visible. That means they're unbranded. Unbranded pins are not affected by trends, both positively and negatively. So, they can sometimes be useful to have around. On the one hand, they'll never get attack bonuses, but on the other hand, they'll never get penalties either. Of course, there's another big use for unbranded pins that comes much, much, much later in the game. But anyway, moving on to an area we haven't been to before, and now here's a couple of NPCs. You might recognise one of them as one of the screaming fangirls in the shop back then. Well, we've been learning the best way to promote pins is to wear them in battle, but I don't think that works for people in the real ground. Obviously. And so this starts off a major subplot, actually. Have we heard of Tin Pin Slammer before? Tin Pin Slammer is basically a game people play with pins. It's like what they use them for in the real ground, really. It's very obviously, as you'll see later, kind of an affectionate parody of all those sort of card battling-ish crazes that, you know, very common in Japan. Now, this shop here is what I like to call pretentious snob outlets. Yes, just look at those prices here. You will not be able to buy anything from this shop until, I'll just say now, pretty much the post-game. You're never going to have anywhere near this much money. But you can browse here, just to see, I mean, just to gape in pure shock at the insane prices. 450,000 yen watch. No, worse. 1,000,000 yen watch. Well, that had better be good. That had better be good. Actually doesn't look that much worth paying 1,000,000 yen for.
Good day.
Anyway, you'll notice that these stuff has a brand too, Pegaso. Pegaso specializes in, well, you can guess, incredibly expensive formal clothing. Ah, even the staff members here are complete snobs. Well, not really, they just know you won't be able to afford anything here. Yes, let's pay 240,000 yen for a bag. Well, I dread to think how much money it's going to take to raise the friendship
look
gauges
forward
here.
to your next
In fact, I've
visit.
never actually seen what happens if you actually get the friendship up to full, but it's probably incredibly hilarious. Now, this place, however, is actually very important, despite the shopkeeper being completely indifferent to you. But later on in the game, there's a certain food item you can buy here that's one of the best in the game. It's also ridiculously overpriced, as you probably guessed, but of course, here's something we can afford, since you've only got to trade in a couple of yen pins for it. Now, I don't really need this, but I find it's kind of useful. It adds Tin Pin Slammer multiplayer mode, and mainly, it unlocks another option on the menu. I just hate to have a big question mark on my menu screen, so I've bought it. Also, you will be playing Tin Pin Slammer later in the main storyline, so it's a good idea to practice. Unfortunately, it is an absolute nightmare to play on an emulator, so be prepared for me to fail an awful lot when it comes to those sections. Anyway, now we reach one of the most awkward scenes in the entire game. Of course, it shows, well, of course, she wants to be a fashion designer. She obviously can't stand stuff like that. I love Deku's reaction there. That's pretty much what you've been thinking in your head as well when you're playing. Please don't make this any more awkward than it already is. Exactly. That line. Oh. You know, I think that's become one of the most infamous lines in the game. Yeah, is that worth doing that for, though? Well, yeah, she certainly does enjoy it, but just, no, don't think we want to go through that again. No. Thankfully, no. I can say that. But you do get a new ability from Shiki out of this. This counter-attack thing. To be honest, I never actually use this very much because the timing is quite difficult. But anyway, right, out of time here. See you in the next part.